Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Our patient today is a 2010 Subaru Forester, which belongs to Joel from the Joy of Fixing YouTube channel. If I don't forget, there'll be a link in the description to his channel. And this is a tricky one because the description of the issue is relatively vague. Sometimes emissions, so I asked what kind of codes does it generate, does it throw. Sometimes emissions, sometimes transmission, sometimes just things in the car stop working right. That's the description of the issue, so it's pretty vague. So I expected that there's either going to be a liquid damage, that there's going to be some damage to the harness, either on this side or or the pins, maybe broken pins, bent pins, corroded pins, caps, maybe completely dead caps, fluctuating voltages, could be, but caps test fine, the voltages are stable, everything seems fine. I connected it to the reader. Reader tells me all the codes that are normal, that you read when you connect it outside of the car and switch the ignition on. You're gonna have codes for throttle position, the MAF, and set of codes. I actually have a list that I follow because I know which codes which codes I expect. So if there's any more of them, then that's where I look. But nothing here. Thermal image, normal. Nothing's getting hot. No issues. Electrically, this ECM seems to be fine. So what could be, or what can we do from now? Well, normally on these, what I do is IC 651, which is SE970, and this is our injector driver. If you have problems with this chip, well, it's going to be prominent. It's either going to be intermittent or a constant misfire on one of the cylinders. There's no misfires on this one, so our SE970 is fine. The IC 501, is it? Yeah. That is responsible probably for more than one thing, but it is essential for the CAN bus to work. So if there's no CAN on the ECM, this chip would be responsible. But if there's no CAN, then the car is going to be completely dead. You're not going to even hear the ignition, or you're not going to see anything on the board, on the dashboard. The car is going to be just completely dead. You won't be able to connect to it, obviously. But this also can be replaced. The IC 705 responsible for throttle position. If you have problems with throttle, that would be our guy. Usually that doesn't actually break that often. I've had only a couple of them in my entire career that needed that replacement, and it's also pretty easy to diagnose. The car will start, but there's gonna be no reaction from the gas pedal. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all we can do on this machine. Obviously recap, our MCU, well, if you need to replace the MCU, then it's better to just clone the ECM to another one, because that's a big pain to replace this chip. Although it doesn't have the ground pads underneath, so it's not that hard to replace. It's just time consuming because every one of those pins need to be resoldered, and obviously you can't create any bridges, and you have to make sure they are connected. And that is pretty much all we can do on this ECM. So the question is the issue in the ECM? It's easy to misdiagnose because, well, Joel already did a lot of troubleshooting on the car and basically narrowed it down to the ECM, or, well, we just have to eliminate ECM, right? Because it's if there is a cabling issue, right? One of the cables is broken. Then intermittent and random issues could be explained by that, especially since there's nothing indicating such issues on this one, like broken solder, cracked solder, anything like that, liquid damage, obviously. So it could be the problem of the cable. So in this case, what I did, let's put it back in, but let's put it back in correctly, like so, and close it up. So what I did, I just cloned it to another ECM. This is the exact same. Our markings are AA361. Now the only difference between those two at the moment, because it is cloned, so at this point it is exact same. But if you put it back in the car, you start driving, then they're going to be different by the amount of miles that you made. I'm not sure if on this particular one this is the issue. On most Subaru ECMs, it's not an issue. If you don't have, all you gotta do is just put the VIN. You can ignore mileage. The mileage will be updated from the other component of the car, right? I'm not sure where from, but even if the mileage is different, that's not an issue. However, I don't know about this particular one. I haven't tested that. But other than that, there is one more difference between those two. We don't know what kind of ROM file is in the MCU. It could have been updated, right? If well, let's call it firmware, although it's like 1 megabyte of data that is basically an engine configuration. That's how you tune the car, right? You upload a different map and it just allows you to pull a little more power from the engine, or maybe affect the emissions, that kind of stuff. Now we do know that there are some emission related codes on it, or that Joel is experiencing. So this could be the issue with this one, the original one, that the map uploaded to it is tuned and it's just too much for the engine. It's 2010, so it's not a new engine. So maybe it's causing that issue. The other thing could be if you have timing issues. Timing issues don't have to be permanent. They can be intermittent. If you have like the bushing or the bearing, something is on the verge of giving out, but not quite there yet. So it works for the most part, but sometimes it gives you issues. Sometimes it gives more resistance. Sometimes, if that be the case, then it's only gonna get worse, right? But again, that would be not related to the ECM. So the reason we're copying this one is this is the ECM that I want you to put in the car, right? Not this one. This is the original one. This is the copy, as the sticker says. If you put this one in and the issues went away, then most likely we have an issue. Well, not really an issue with this one. We just have a garbage ROM in the MCU. If, on the other hand, you put this one in and the issues are the same, roughly the same, because they're intermittent, so it's going to take some time to confirm. But if you still get issues, well, we have a clear answer that it's not the ECM. And in this case, that's what we got to do. We just have to eliminate the ECM, because electrically this ECM is fine. I don't see anything wrong with this ECM. So that is the joy of fixing ECMs. Unfortunately, I can't always give you the diagnosis based on the measurements on the bench. That's the way this business works. Well, it is 8 a.m. so the UPS store is open. I do have some meetings and some other stuff to attend, but I will pack it up and give it to my wife to ship it to you. Today is Thursday. I'm thinking by Monday it should be back with you. Put it in. Remember the copy, not the original one. Drive around a little bit, see the difference. I would be surprised if there is a difference, but if there is a difference, if it's better, then we most likely have a crappy map in the MCU. Maybe. Or there's something I just can't see on this one, and something indeed is wrong with the ECM. But that's what's gonna give us the answer. No other way. Well, that's pretty much it. No particular repair. I mean, normally, back in the day, I would just replace the SE 970. I have new ones, just 2 of them. I would perhaps maybe replace the ignition and the throttle controller, recapped it, all kinds of work. But nowadays I don't have to, because I have the ability to just copy one to another, and that answers our questions. And this one, since this is non-turbo version, the ECMs are pretty affordable. For some reason, the turbo versions are more expensive. The H6 are super expensive. It's pretty much the same device. Those prices are just artificially made, probably based on the availability, most likely. I'm not sure, but it's pretty much the same device. There's no difference in price, or physical differences do not reflect or shouldn't reflect the differences in prices. It's pretty much the same device, just configured for different engines, and using different output stages, because, well, you have either 6 cylinders or 4, but other than that, it's or you have turbocharger or not. But either way, it's the same device. They really shouldn't be costing differently, but probably the availability dictates that price. Alrighty, thank you guys very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.